Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. Boy, it's been a funny couple weeks, hasn't it? There's now 4 different food processing plants that have had mysterious accidents. This ranges from everything from, standard production style shutdowns to having a plane hit one of them. In Europe, Russia is threatening that they're going to attack Poland, and the former prime minister of Russia, remember Putin likes to change his title from president to prime minister, whatever he feels like for the next 4 years, is warning that if Ukraine goes down, the Balkans are next. China is really feeling, we're going to call it brave, because they ejected a flare into an Australian Air Force jet, Royal Australian Air Force. I should give them their proper title. And it actually impacted with the engines. And there have been a huge wave of school shootings, even hitting close to my hometown, where there was a man wandering around shooting a wall that was near a public school. In times like this, in an uncertain world that has been through September 11th, 2001, that has been through all the various things that would make even the most carefree, happy person a world-weary skeptic. But the good news is, all this stuff is not related. Let's start from the top. Let's pick on Russia. Now, this whole Russia, if Ukraine falls and they'll be in the Balkans next. Okay, possibly. But that's also what they said about Vietnam. If Vietnam falls, then the communists will be in Laos. And if they're in Laos, then they're going to be in Thailand, blah, 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 blah. It's called the domino theory. And I almost forgot. The Russian oligarchs that are close to Putin are suddenly being found with their doors locked and their families murdered and themselves executed. And I say executed on purpose because, you can't murder your family with an axe and not get blood on you. So Russia's going through a real power struggle at the present time. We know Putin is very sick. Hey, cancer doesn't make anybody better. And the military strategy at the moment seems insensible. When you are the dominant nation, which Russia is, outnumbering Ukraine dramatically with far better technology at your disposal, you should be winning. And they're not. So right now, I honestly think Vladimir Putin is not calling the shots. I think his cancer is far worse than anybody knows. And he might not even be aware of what's going on. They say he's got duplicates and stunt doubles. Remember this exact same thing from Saddam Hussein, where supposedly he had all these lookalikes that he would use to confuse the public about whether he was there, whether he wasn't? Yeah, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Now, all these accidents happening at food processing places, there's no connecting thread. But I find it interesting that 4 would be attacked I'm saying attacked within a month. And the reason I'm saying attacked is we have more than just human forces to worry about in this world. There's spiritual, there's psychological, and also the bastards didn't take out the Campbell's soup plant in North Carolina. Anybody in logistics knows why that's a funny statement to make. corrupt jerks. Anyways. But they're attacking an animal feed place. They attacked a potato processing place, wheat processing place. There's no real connection between them. Now, they're going to drive your prices up, of course, because everything drives your prices up, and everything since the 1970s has driven your prices up. We don't know what's doing this sudden rush of bad luck, but the good news is it's definitely not a terrorist plot. See, terrorists like to claim responsibility for things. Whether it's Al-Qaeda, whether it was the IRA, whoever it was, they're kind of like supervillains because the entire point of terrorism is to send a message. And you have to let them know, hey, we did it. I forget which one it was. It wasn't the Lockerbie bombing, but one of the times in the 1980s when the planes were, they brought a plane down, there were so many different organizations calling in and claiming responsibility for it that it made their lives difficult to figure out who was really responsible. So yeah, these are not terrorist attacks, despite the fact that a plane nearly knocked into one and damaged it. And it's coincidental that these attacks happen. Now, it's going to suck because food prices are already terrible. And yeah, I'm sure everybody would love to have a nice luxurious dinner, maybe some steak and some lobster at a nice place, but we're just going to have to wait a little bit longer before that becomes affordable. China flexing its muscles. They buzzed a Canadian jet not too long ago, and now they basically attacked an Australian Air Force P-8 Poseidon. Now, a P-8 Poseidon is an anti-submarine airplane, which means it posed absolutely no threat to the Chinese jet. And I'm assuming it was a newer Chinese jet. They haven't identified it yet. But whatever the case may be, the P-8 Poseidon is no threat to anybody. Now, on this, I'm actually going to show a little bit of sympathy to the Chinese here. And the reason is, despite the fact that the news are reporting that the Russians and the Chinese have been in the Pacific buzzing various nations' aircraft and warships and stuff, the fact is, it's nothing new. It's been going on forever. Top Gun didn't make the idea up. It was a practice already in place. And the United States does more than their fair share of buzzing other people's stuff. So I'm going to say, okay, I don't like the fact that people nearly got hurt, and thank goodness that the Royal Australian Air Force trained their pilots to the point where the guy kept calm, the guy kept the plane under control, and ultimately he landed it safely. So kudos there. People got home and got home safe. Remember, the Silverlight Show always wants everybody to get home safe. So yeah, it's tough for me to blame the Chinese when everybody around them is doing the exact same thing. And while the Canadians and the Royal Australian Air Force probably haven't buzzed anything in the Chinese military, they're just showing off, hey, look what we can do. But it opens an interesting possibility. Namely, if Russia is making a push in the West, China has a free hand in the East. We also have new Philippine president, Mr. Marcos, Ferdinand Marcos. See, it's almost like we're back in the 1980s. And he is supposedly very pro-American, and he wants to tell the Chinese with their man-made islands, get off my lawn. No problem with that, but see, once again, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. Now, the thing that distresses me, in my town, there is a big Twitter message sent out. So-and-so school has shut down. I'm not going to tell you the name of the school, simply because you probably don't know who the heck it is anyway. And, male seen shooting at a wall. Well, that's great. half the population of my area is male. Was it a young male? Was it an old male? So I sent the police, well, I replied to their Twitter and said, basically, what kind of male are we talking about? Like, it's ridiculous to give me such a nonsense identifier. And as the police, are they not supposed to be getting descriptions? Are they not supposed to be following up on leads like that? Especially assuming the man had a weapon, a pistol or a rifle, and was shooting at a wall. They weren't sure if he was armed. This is not Sherlock Holmes territory here. This is, okay, he's a male, tall, short, skinny, fat. Somebody had to call this in. Bare minimum details is all I'm looking for. Tall, short, skinny, fat, eye color. Might be hard to see that. I appreciate if you don't have it. Was he wearing a jacket, a t-shirt? Give me something to go on. And you see the echo in all this that you're hearing, the thing that rhymes is fear. Be afraid. Oh, a male is going around shooting at a wall. Wait a second. What wall? Oh, the Chinese are buzzing Australian jets. The buzzing is kind of the thing that the air forces of the world do to show off their cool planes, because that's what they do. Oh, Russia is going to attack through the Baltic states next. I don't think they have the troops reserve or the ammunition to do that. But, thank you, former PM, for giving us something to be afraid of. And they're taking our food processing plants offline. Fear, 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 fear. And they want you to live in fear. Make no mistake. When your body's in fear, your adrenaline kicks in and you're no longer acting on a responsible, adult, mature level. In that state, you're more likely to make mistakes. And yeah, it's easier to control people who are afraid. The news is only going to get scarier. There's going to be a lot of stuff happen. And you know what? If you're listening to this for the future and Silverlight is 100% wrong and somehow you're in a nuclear waste and yet getting this on YouTube, by all means, leave a comment below and tell me I'm wrong. But what I'm seeing is raw fear porn. It's just designed to get you excited like porn does. And fear, just like a horror movie. Oh yeah, that guy got killed real good. And that's what all this is. They're keeping us in fear. Because that's what's been happening for the past couple of years. Hey, that almost rhymed. Stay calm, listen to the news, use your analytical brain. Like I said, male shooting wall. Okay, thanks for the alert about nothing. An armed male may or may not be armed. I think I would establish with some more certainty before I announced anything to the public, but that's just me as an individual. Just straight trying to encourage fear. So my friends, remember, fear is an important ally. Fear will keep you safe. And you know what? Fear is healthy. But remember to balance it with love, compassion, and understanding. Because only with our spiritual side and our physical side unified can we possibly become truly human and do what we need to do, which is use our human minds and our human emotions to be able to survive better. Listen to the fear. Let the fear give you that energy and then block it out. Because it does nobody any good to go around with a panic attack. And I'm not making fun of people with panic attacks. Believe me, it is a horrible disease to have. All I want you to do is to try to weaponize your fear and make it work for you, not against you. And remember, there's other emotions. Yes, sure. Somebody breaks in your front door and they're swinging a baseball bat, be afraid. But also be rational. Hey, it's one guy with a baseball bat, and I have my entire family. I got a phone that can dial 911. I have a big dog who has an attitude problem. Use your entire mind. And that way we can overcome fear. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please hit like, share, and subscribe. It would be appreciated if you bought a book down in the comments, because, yeah, that really helps the channel out more than you know. And we hope you have a fantastic day.